Welcome to Hospitality. My name is Stefan Zernecki of Black Tie Tours. With me, as always, Wesley Jones of Tour Cascadia, local artist Cole Rogers. And we are coming to you today from a new micro-winery here in the Chehalem AVA, Bellingar Estates.
That's right, Bellingar Estates.
Bellingar, not Bellingar. Bellingar Estates.
This is a big scheme to get people to pronounce my name right. That's right.
Okay. My last name is Zarnecki.
Yeah, you know. Exactly.
So I know I've been spelling my name to people.
Do what you got to do.
You got to do what you do. And Evan Bellingar, owner and wine grower. We are at your vineyard and property.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Oh, well, thanks for having us. It's great. It worked out really well. You guys reached out to me in, I think, August, saying, hey, come check us out. And I was like, August, busy, whatever. I don't even think I wrote you back because I'm a dick. And
may have noticed, don't worry. Yeah.
And then, yeah, it's true. And I'm okay with that. And but then things started slowing down. I was like, oh, right, this place. And I think I followed you guys on Instagram, which honestly is a great way to like remind me to get back to people.
Yeah.
If you post on Instagram.
Hey, I was an asshole. I didn't follow up with this guy.
Oh, yeah, those guys.
There's no like down heart, but that would be helpful. Yeah.
Or how about just like don't forget about me. Wave on Instagram. There's a wave. Yeah, that's a good idea. Instagram, you can use that. So anyway, here we are, Chehalem AVA. So Evan, you're not new to the wine industry. You've kind of been at this a little while.
Yeah, no, my wife and I have been making wine in the garage since 2005. Down in Corvallis. Then we came up to like basically farm grapes for folks. That's still what I do professionally. Mm-hmm. So I design, develop, and manage vineyards with a company. Have a lot of fun doing that. And my wife worked at Adelsheim for 12 seasons, and then here in 2020 retired to hang out with our 3 kids and do this tasting group thing.
She retired.
She did, yeah.
You're still putting in the...
Yeah, still doing the W-2 and having a lot of fun with it. And so Kim retired because 3 kids, winery, bungalows, stuff like that. Yeah, pretty boring. Yeah.
Now, without saying names, if we're not comfortable with it, how many acres are you farming with your crew?
Quite a few. I think now we're well over 2,000. So.
Okay. Wow.
To me, I really like it. I worked at a spot where it was just like one site, and that was really fun too because like you prune every vine, you pull the leaves on every vine, and with multiple sites, you get to see in every year, like okay, this is the same vintage, this is 2020, but I'm seeing it in 2 dozen different sites, and it's like okay, you kind of like build in that metadata a little bit. So like oh my gosh, like Pommard, for example, here at Warriors Rest Vineyard. If we get Pommard, like, oh, that's Pommard to me, but I can see what's similar and what's different at the other sites, and like, oh, okay, that worked well or didn't.
You can pick up on the site variations a little bit better when you get the real scope.
Yeah, exactly.
And saying clones taste like something is not always that accurate either.
Yeah.
Because good for those who can pick it out.
Like,
exactly.
777 tastes like this. It's like, well,
yeah, it can tend towards otherwise, like, there's no terroir, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Sure,
Vegas,
So we're happy to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so your wife was at Adelsheim. She was like up. She wasn't just like a tasting person. What did she do
big
again?
deal.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she ended up as the chief operating officer.
Okay.
And she had the great opportunity to work directly with David for many years, and then with a couple of their new folks as well. Had a great time, and she was very appreciative to grow with them. We ended up going to Europe a couple times with them, so that was awesome. So.
Very cool. Yeah.
We got to meet her a couple of days ago, and she's an absolute gem of a person.
Great hostess.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was great.
We really enjoyed
We got the back.
We did everything we could do to get her on here and keep you off. But
well,
exactly.
She wasn't able
She's
to.
so much better at it.
This is the B team, this is the JV squad.
Like, it's like it never comes up. It's like
we'll do a better version.
follow-up.
Of her.
Well, one of the reasons we're here is because we had arranged the tasting.
Yeah.
And I swear, I like walk up and I'm like, oh, we were gonna film here. Like it was already going through my head. Like I wanna film up here because
it's a killer space too. You can't really tell from the camera angle, but behind us are garage doors that open up, and this space becomes an indoor-outdoor space.
Garage door.
It is November at night. We're technically indoors, but this feels like we're sitting outside having a conversation.
And there's a really neat little seating area in the back here too.
And the vineyard's like 15 yards
Yeah.
from here?
Yeah,
Maybe?
we could just kind of.
If it was daylight.
It's a great space.
Trust me.
Very well
Yeah.
designed.
Yeah. No, we got a couple pictures
Yeah.
from coming out earlier. That was good. Daylight savings and just winter is killing us. That
Making
we're starting
filming very
I know.
hard.
starting in the dark, but I guess that's what we
Someday we'll
have
be
to do.
independently wealthy from the podcast, and we'll be able to film in the middle of the day. But until then, we have day jobs.
Please send us money
Yeah.
if you like the podcast.
Yeah.
Text too. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We
just
do take
put a couple
contributions.
bucks in an envelope.
We'll put a Cash App link in the bottom.
Yeah.
And obviously you guys might not have a PO box set up, so just send it here, Bellingar Estates.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Care of.
So
yeah.
thoughtful of you, Evan.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
we
much.
can do that. So, okay, so you have your day job, wonderful paycheck. Kind of, I know what that's all about. While running a business too. Your wife retired. You've got 3 little ones, 2 little ones, 3.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know every time.
Yeah. 6, almost 3, and 0. So yeah,
Okay, so you guys were like, we don't have enough to do.
pretty bored. Yeah, we're playing too many
So-
card games at night, and we're like, you know what? We need some more people here.
We need So that's what happened.
Yeah.
So
kind
why
of, yeah.
why did you do this to yourselves?
The kids, or didn't know there was gonna be 3. Jeez.
Yeah.
No, I always wanted. It's weird, but like I always wanted to be in the wine business. Like
Yeah.
growing up, like always, not from a farming family. Didn't inherit a vineyard or anything like that, and so, but I always loved growing things, and I always liked the idea that in the wine business, there's geology, there's history, there's chemistry, there's horticulture, and all these things. There's hospitality, and there's like people that want to be here as a vacation, right? And there's a lot of industries that don't have all that. And like when I was coming to school, I was like, I wanted to come to Oregon because it seemed smaller, it seemed more collegial, it seemed like you could make an impact here and do something. So, yeah, I just always wanted to do it, and Oregon was the place to do it.
And you guys lived in Newberg before you bought this place. Is
We
that right?
did, yeah. Lived there since 2007, I think. So
Okay. And you bought this when?
2016.
Okay. Not that long ago.
No, yeah. Well, it's funny. Like when you have a property that's like way too big for you, and you're like just daunted by all the projects to do. It's easy to think like, oh my gosh, there's 10,000 things to do. But then we look at photos of when we moved in, and it's like we've done a couple things. Like
Shipped away. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about the property. Obviously, I mean, I'll cut in some photos and everything, but just what's the layout? And
Yeah.
whatnot?
So it was 16 and a half acres here. There was 12 acres of quite old hazelnuts when we purchased the property. That's we cleared about half of that. So now it's 5 acres of vines, 2 acres of Pinot Noir, 3 acres of Chardonnay, and doing some kind of very solid clones on that, and then kind of some outliers, some flyers.
Some solid clones.
Yeah, so like 76 and 95.
Yep.
And
Well-established clones.
Yeah, they're like
okay.
the Pomard of Chardonnay,
Sure.
where it's
Right.
like everybody's got some, right?
They came
Chardonnay,
through
got it.
OSU in the late 80s, early 90s. If
Yeah.
I'm remembering correctly.
We were not to name drop, but we were with David Adelsheim in Burgundy last year, and we were on the bus, and he was like, we was with like a tour group, and he was like, so people call these Dijon clones, and he's like, the reason for that is when I mailed them, it was from that, and he like pointed at that mail place, and he was like,
post office
and
or
the
whatever.
address came back stamped Dijon,
Yep.
which is the town. Yeah,
That is so awesome.
Yep.
And also
That's
a
neat.
huge flex on you, especially right before you dropped. You said, I'm not going to name drop.
Oh, I'm not going to name drop, but me and
But,
David
well,
maybe
Adelsheim
we
were-
can do a
When I was in
side-
Burgundy
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
David Alsham, he just
Yeah.
happened to be the guy that's
Maybe we can do a
responsible.
side segment later on and actually talk about the origin of Chardonnay
Yeah.
coming over
call him
and
David.
OSU. I know.
totally do it,
I
yeah.
know.
David
Absolutely.
would.
I've
Yeah,
spent
absolutely.
my quiet hours reading about this, so it makes me very happy.
That's fun.
That's fascinating. That is awesome, though. Like
Yeah.
that's a great experience to be there with him.
Yeah, and so we planted that this tasting room we completed in July, and so perfect timing. We tried to plan it right in the middle of a nice pandemic so that we could, just good business principles we learned
You can
about.
make
Right.
it if you can make it in a pandemic.
Just testing yourself.
And we've got a couple bungalows on the property, and so hopefully we have folks staying here, get to stay the night, and then get to come taste wine. Our neighbors, the old schoolhouse, they do weddings and other events, and so it's kind of a cool little nook here that I think people can come out.
Symbiotic relationship where
Yeah.
people can get all shitty at the wedding and then stagger
Yeah.
back to the bungalow.
Yeah, safely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and if they
exactly.
want to visit some other wineries, I know a couple of guys that have tour companies.
Hey now.
Exactly, yeah.
Bada bing.
Yeah.
All right. So we got Chardonnay planted here. We are drinking Chardonnay.
Yeah.
We're drinking some Chardonnay.
What's the story here?
So we are pouring today our Oregon tier Chardonnay and then our reserve Chardonnay. And what I really want to get your guys' take on is, and I've not tried this, but this is our first estate fruit. So this is 2020 vintage Chardonnay from Warriors Rest Vineyard here.
That is exciting.
Now,
well, let's
while we're pouring this, can you tell us where Warriors Rest,
Yeah.
the name, comes from?
So we purchased the property from Adelina Slocum, and when she was, I think, 92 or 94 at the time, super sweet lady, and her dad purchased this property with his discharge pay from World War One.
Wow.
And so we named the property after him as an homage, and
great
she's
name.
got
That is amazing.
all these cool stories about like her dad. They were Italian, and so they planted a couple rows of grapevines back in like the 20s. And where we store some of our wines for the tasting room, like he would make wine way back in the day, and like through Prohibition. So it was pretty
That's
nice.
so cool.
Respect.
What a great
Kim was
story.
telling us that he used to send the daughter down to the road to watch out for the cops.
Yeah, that's right, during Prohibition. And Adelina, who like at the time she was like 6, and
Yeah.
she'd run down to the road, and like I can't imagine how slow traffic would have been in the 30s, but probably maybe
Right.
just to get
It's probably
her out,
dirt.
yeah.
Your Model A cop car was just coming at 25 miles an hour.
Yeah. You'd have some time. Yeah.
All right, we got some cloudy juice here.
So this is obviously not a finished wine, but we really want to do something really fun with our first estate fruit. And when you taste more white Burgundies, it's like, man, Oregon, and I think a lot of folks are doing some really killer stuff with Chardonnay. Like, how do we join that club?
Right.
How do we do something really, really fun?
Okay, let's give it a go.
And this is partway through Mallow, correct?
Yeah, it's partway through Mallow, and then the question is, do we like the acid, like quantity and quality, and should we arrest Mallow on Monday? This is cool. I've never tried estate fruit yet.
That's fun. I don't know how much more it's going to change after, so I don't want to commit because I'm also kind of a dumbass. So.
I like the level of creaminess of it, if that makes any help.
Okay.
If it give you any feedback.
I do. The acidity is super bright.
It is.
Yeah.
I'd
I kinda like where it's
maybe
at.
go a little bit longer.
Keep it.
in Mallow.
I'm with you there.
Okay.
That was my
I would.
instinct as well.
I actually like where it's at, but don't take that as like an educated necessarily.
But that's
opinion,
three. Yeah. Hey,
But
you know.
I do like where the creaminess and the acid.
I think the bones of it are gorgeous.
Yeah,
Mhm.
fresh, yummy. I drink it.
Sweet. There we go.
That's why I'm out of
Like,
mouth.
put me on the mailing list, and I'll
Perfect.
buy it as soon as it's released.
Okay, so this is going to be your. Did you say your reserve?
And the oak is
No.
delicious, by the way.
This will be our vineyard designated Chardonnay.
the oak,
Vineyard doesn't-
the oak program is really, really perfect.
You like
It's
that?
really well
Okay.
balanced.
Yeah.
So what's this going to retail for?
I have no idea. What should we retail it for? Yeah. Well, we don't know.
Okay, so that's kind of the next question. So your Pinot Willamette Valley.
Maybe
Yeah.
we can take a picture of the board. And
Yeah, we'll take a picture. I'm just
Clip it
going to
in.
look. So $20 each for your like Willamette Valley Chardonnay, Willamette Valley Pinot,
Yeah, that's right.
And then the reserves are 35 each.
Yeah.
I've tasted them all, and I think that's a steal.
Yep.
100%.
Those are really really quite yummy. So, what was kind of your thinking there? I mean, obviously you're kind of, I don't know if underselling is the right, but you're giving a great value.
Oh, thank
would
you.
be
Yeah.
a good way of putting it.
To tell a somewhat embarrassing story, when we started this brand with a 2014 vintage, we'd been making wine in the garage for 10 years, and it was like, man, if we're ever going to go commercial, like we ought to do that at some point. We didn't have this property, and me in my ignorance thought, oh, we'll just do like a $20 Pinot that'll really just pull through distribution, and it'll be kind of that model. And so I literally started with the smallest number of cases I could think of, because I'm used to like, oh, a 20-ton truck, and yeah.
No.
I was thinking the smallest possible amount of wine was 500 cases, because that seems small, and that was way too much to move through distribution when I had a day job, Kim had a day job, and it just wasn't going to happen. And so flash forward a couple of years, now we've got this place, and we really like that price point. My wife and I are millennials, and we think wineries need to be reaching out and like creating products that are affordable every
yeah.
day.
Yep.
And like you need that gateway wine to get people excited about Oregon Pinot.
Right.
If nobody's gonna come in. At least I don't think nobody's gonna come spend $80 if they haven't tried it at 20, and then they tried 35, and then they came up to
Right.
that. And I think that's our goal here is
Right.
something affordable, bringing in, and screw caps. Do that so you can open it on a picnic,
Right.
and take it with you with life. Yeah, that's kind of the
Well,
thesis.
one of the things I talk about with guests in the winery all the time is that Oregon still only produces 3% of the country's wine. The majority of the wine that gets out into distribution is from 5 or 6 really large houses that are doing what they do on a mass production level, for better or for worse. And when you come to Oregon, we're hoarding all of the good micro producers for ourselves. When you get to Oregon, I can show you and introduce you to folks that are producing wines at the same price point that you're finding on your store shelf in Miami, Los Angeles, New York City, that are going to be exponentially higher quality just because they're not playing the wholesale game.
Yep.
It doesn't mean that
Distribution,
any Pinot or Chardonnay that's priced at $20, $35 isn't high quality. And we're seeing some of our friends produce exceptional wines in that $25, $35 range. So excited to
Yeah.
see people like you doing this kind of thing.
And to over deliver, and it's like
Right.
you want somebody like paying for that wine and like, man, that is awesome. I'd pay
Right.
more. I'm
Yes.
coming back.
Well, and so much of wine that gets taken home and then is shared with the community of the folks that are bringing it back is going to be that gateway drug to the Willamette Valley. So why in the hell aren't we more as a valley producing wines that are affordable, that people could take 2, 3, 4 cases home, share with their friends, and be like, this is actually what we're producing?
Well,
Yep.
what I'm seeing some at wineries is, that maybe they have some wines that are 20, 25, 30, but the only thing they're pouring in the tasting room
Right.
are things $45
Right.
up.
Yeah.
Well, I think that I sold a lot of wine to a lot of people who talked about following somebody all the way up. So you might have people that are just out of college who come here. They're like, man, I love these wines. This is the only club we're going to join. Or we're going to come here next year, right? I've talked to customers who have followed wineries from the time these people were just kind of beginning. And as the winery became more successful, those people became more successful and were able to afford those wines at a higher price too, right? And so they're proud to be at that, kind of grow with the
Yep.
business.
Yeah, and like we started in the garage when you can't even sell it, and so
Right.
it's like, and we've got people who are like, oh man, this is cool, but it was really cool. It's a garage, and like you say, grow with that brand. And if it's not part of living, if it's not part of dinner, if it's not part of your week or your month or your day, we're going to lose those folks, and
Right.
then they're gonna do something else, and then they're not going to be wine drinkers, and they're going to lose an important part of it, I think.
Yeah.
Well, and something else I talk about in the tasting room all the time is that wine has, and for good reason, this ostentatious presentation in some levels. Like some folks have gained that respect to sell at this price point, but it doesn't mean that wine should be so exclusive, because when you look at the history of wine, especially within like European table wines, wine is the thing that people drink when they come together as a community. I know we're talking about this as a brand. Like, if you are so far up your own ass that you can't include the community that's actually supporting you and living around you, then kind of fuck off.
Yeah.
And I get myself in trouble
that
all the
one's on
time on
Wes.
this podcast for telling people to fuck off. I'm willing to own that. But
Your point's taken.
the fact that there is something that's accessible to
Yeah.
everyone is so appreciated by folks like myself. Like, I drink way above my pay grade because I'm in the industry. If I wasn't in the industry, there's no way that on Tuesday night I'm opening a $60 bottle of wine.
Yeah. You'd be cracking open an IPA, you'd be mixing up your own drink or something, and then you wouldn't be a wine drinker.
And when my friends ask, hey, do you want to go wine tasting on Sunday? I'd be like, I just don't feel comfortable in that environment.
Yeah.
And yet there are so many beautiful places with incredible stories of families that we should be supporting and celebrating and watching their success. And those are few and far between.
Yeah, and we, for liability reasons, we might not bring the axe throwing back, but we do want to we want to like blend the line between like wine and the farm, and
Right.
so we're like making plans right now to plant a cider apple orchard, and wouldn't it be cool to like have some cider that's like estate grown?
Yep.
And we did have like axe throwing, and it's like it's an activity like people will remember that for a long time, and it's fun.
Right.
And like then we shot apples out of like a water balloon launcher like last year pre-COVID.
Right.
And it's fun, and you're here, and you're part of it.
Right.
And
Here's a drink and an axe.
yeah,
Have fun.
How could this go wrong, right?
Yeah.
Well, and
Anybody
let's,
from
we should've
American
run real
Family
fast with that.
Insurance. Yeah.
and let's be like super clear about
Yeah.
something. I'm going to break the fourth wall. These are folks that know their shit from both a farming standpoint and a hospitality standpoint that are also providing an incredible experience with affordable wines. Like, this isn't sort of someone's like garage wet dream that accidentally happened into we're selling $20 bottles.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sorry, not to interrupt you, but I just figured out your wine label name.
Garage Wood Dream.
There you go.
Garage wet dream.
Yeah, that
Well-
just happened. I was here.
I think we
was
can do a
perfect.
little jingle with it.
Thank you so much. Glad
Well,
you're
and,
able to-
and like, I think sometimes we overestimate, like, okay, well, this is 10114 rootstock, and this clone was, brought in from, stolen from some dude. And there's a time for that, but like, there's a lot of folks that don't know how to pronounce Oregon, and like, they're not wine drinkers. So like, how do we get somebody into that funnel?
Yeah, and what me and Evan talked about right before we start recording is that at least 1/3 of the people that are going to walk in here really don't give that much of a shit about how elite your wine is. They want it to be good enough.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
they just want to have a good time, and
Right.
like you're
Yeah.
saying, they want an experience that. The last thing they really want to, I mean, most people really want to do is pick apart the wine. They want to drink it and
Yeah.
think, this is really good.
Right.
How did you make this? Learn about it, and then just enjoy themselves.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
we
from-
talked about this. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
We
I
talked
don't
about this
think
with Kim.
I will negotiate this. Okay.
Yeah, we talked about this with Kim. Like, so much of what happens when you take home bottles and you open them after your trip from Oregon is that you remember the romance. You remember
Yeah.
the relationships.
The
You remember the
story.
story. You remember the fact that it's a couple with 3 young kids and they've been in the industry and they're starting, like, honestly, kind of like enough is enough with things being too excessive, right? Like,
Yeah.
you guys have a story that is what us as a community are championing in so many ways. These are our people. When people go home, they share that story. And it's not like, oh, there was a beautiful view when they opened this wine. It's, I had this experience. I felt romantic.
Yeah. And on the flip side, happy to have anybody chime in and say, yeah, but we do this because the economics say this. By God, I mean,
Well,
put it in the comments
yeah.
or whatever. Happy to hear about it because
Right.
I mean, I get it. Like, I mean, if you can get $120 a bottle and that's your model.
Well, that's my
Sure.
point of saying,
Great,
like, you can grow with a brand. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
if Evan's selling bottles for $65 in 5 years, that's his good
It's
for
a breath
him.
of fresh air
Yeah.
for
Right.
us.
But
you know,
I
people in
agree
the
with.
industry.
I think
Yeah.
the idea is that it's great to have wine for people to understand that wine doesn't have to be for just snobs, and especially when it's good wine from the place you're from that you can be proud of, that would normally be sold for like $60 or $70 in most places in the world. Honestly, not to pump your ego up, but
Thank you. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you're going to
no.
be. Here's
I'll
the
bring it
thing.
back down at some point
You're going to be
today.
out of wine. You're going to be out of wine. If you keep only making 250 cases, you're going to be out of wine.
You are, yeah.
Because on this road with this setup,
Yeah.
with the word's going to get out. It's going to
Yeah.
be gone. So hopefully you're planning on making more wine.
Yeah.
That's
No, that's good. Yeah.
all DTC. Hopefully too. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this segment. We're going to be back in just a minute to discuss wineries where you can spend the night. Wineries that have lodging. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hospitality. In this segment, we're going to discuss some of the wineries that have lodging on site.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about hotels, B&Bs, Airbnbs, vacation rentals, we'll do that some other time. There's lots of great options there, very extensive. But this is focusing just kind of on vineyards, wineries that have lodging on site.
Yeah.
Now, there's kind of a subcategory here, and there's 2 inns that are I'd say
They're
probably
on vineyards.
the coolest, the best,
Yes,
probably of
by
this
far.
list.
I shouldn't say by far, but yes, I agree with you. But they don't really count as like, well, they are
Not
wineries,
exactly the
though.
same thing,
Anyways,
but-
they're a different category. but we're still going to kind of include them. Youngberg Hill. I've been to 2 different weddings at Youngberg Hill. To be fair, I've never stayed in the house there, but it is an amazing property, and I've gotten feedback from the bridesmaids and the wedding party that was staying at the place when I was there.
Cool.
Had a
Getting the
great
feedback from the
8 out.
bridesmaids.
I was dating one
I
of
got
the
5
bridesmaids.
stars, guys. Yeah.
This is not
Sure.
recent in my life. This is actually, I had a steady girlfriend at the
It's
time.
fine.
But it's a beautiful place.
One
Not
of the
even-
top views in the valley.
Not even speaking of the view,
Stunning.
the wedding alone. But as far as if you're just there to stay, they took amazing care of the entire wedding party. It was a really, really beautiful place, and great hospitality. So
The other is Black Walnut.
Obviously, we've talked about Black
We-
Walnut.
yeah, we've been
extensively.
there.
we've been there.
What is it? 11 rooms? My office.
Something like that. 9
Nine.
right now.
Something small. But each room, master suite, gorgeous food program.
Deck at
Yeah.
each room
Yeah.
besides the one
Yeah.
with the garden.
It's not fair. It's not exactly the same
It's kind of
category
cheating.
as these, but it's similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Stoller. Stoller's
Yeah. Well, Stoller is one of the most magnificent properties in the whole valley, as it is. The vineyard is a little bit different in the sense that you're looking up at it, as opposed to most places in the valley. You're sort of at the top of the hill, looking down over the vineyard. So you get a really expansive view of the vineyard. I imagine, again, I haven't actually slept there, but I imagine staying there, you're sort of nestled within this sort of space surrounded by vineyards. Stoller does an amazing job taking care of people. Their hospitality is always pretty much knocked out of the park. And so
there's three. There's three.
3 houses.
3 different places to
Yeah,
Bill,
one is
Bill Stoller grew up at this property. Maybe one of the 3 houses is one that he grew up in.
I think so.
Is
but
the
I'm not
original
positive.
Stoller
Was he
house?
born in one of the houses? Oh.
I think so. I'm sure
It was
Bill
a turkey-
watches.
it was a turkey
podcast,
farm.
So he can
Bill's,
go
one,
get
Bill's our
this
number
out.
one fan.
Commenting.
Yeah,
sure.
But yeah, there was a turkey farm before. Anyways, it's a beautiful property, and I'm sure they do an amazing job with where.
They have concierge service. So
Yeah.
you stay there. They can help connect you with like a wine tour.
I've never
operator
had a
if-
guest
for
that stayed there that's complained about their lodging.
Yeah.
No, it's good. Good
I
stuff.
don't know.
Domain Serene. They've got 2 houses on site.
Those lean more towards their club members, though. That's
More
part
than
of.
lean. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's
Pretty
club
much
only.
I can't speak to it being totally exclusive, but they definitely give preference to their top tier.
No.
club
It
members.
is, and I have had problems.
Oh,
with
really?
People who were like, I booked the highest level of club there so that we could get it, and there were only 2 weeks available on the whole. Like they.
Yeah,
Like apparently it's not like a super smooth.
it's in high demand.
It's in high demand. So yeah, if
Yeah.
you sign up for that highest club member
Yep.
level, make sure you book it.
Yep.
Book your room.
Shocker, none of us are actually in
Yeah.
the highest club level at Domain
Yeah,
Serene.
just take your firstborn.
There is one place though, Methven, that you don't have to be in the gold tier to stay.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous house. I've had.
It's so pretty.
I think when I was driving for you, Stefan, I picked up folks there, and I've had my own guests stay there.
amazing.
And when I was with you, they invited me inside. I went in after the tour was done. I clocked off, had a drink, walked the house.
Sure.
I believe you.
Really cool house.
It's fucking awesome.
A game room, tons of rooms.
They got a
Big
pool.
commercial. Yep.
I haven't been to every like rental house in Yamhill County or whatever, but besides like Del Mar or whatever, this is like a straight up villa. Like this is an amazing house. So
It's cool, and it's one you
it's
can
only
bring
like 5
multiple-
bedrooms though. It's not like a crazy.
Yeah, but you
like,
bring 5 couples to the place,
Totally
and it's
worth it.
still like big enough for all 5 couples.
Mm-hmm.
You're not stepping over each other.
They've got grills and they've
Yeah.
got tons of space, and they'll set you up with a private chef if you want that or whatever.
Yeah, and you can end your day of touring down in their tasting room, and then drink to your heart's content. Walk back up to your place.
Yeah. Now they also have, of course, lodging above the Dundee tasting room too, though.
Oh, do they?
They do.
I didn't know.
Yeah, you can stay in Dundee above the tasting room, and you can walk around Dundee all day tasting.
Well, that's cool too.
And Red
Especially
Hills Market, the little
and Red-
bluffs above Red Hills Market.
and
Not a winery.
Copitos.
Not
The
a winery,
Copitos
but
food
Copitos
trucks
is
right
right
there.
there.
But they do
I eat
make
there
wine,
like 3
actually.
times a week.
Yeah, everything you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those spicy shrimp tacos will make
Okay.
every part of you tingle.
Moving on.
All right, Beacon Hill. Have you guys been out to Beacon?
Yeah.
You've been out to
Yeah.
Beacon Hill. They have 2 houses. One is a house, and it's whatever. If you have a larger group, and that's down kind of by the winery.
It is the
Chateau.
winery.
No.
Oh,
No. Before you get to the winery on the
Oh
left.
no! So there's 3 buildings on the property.
Yeah.
There's the rental. There's the winery that
Chateau
also
winery.
has like an executive rental space though. If you want to throw a
Oh.
party or a wedding, they can host
true.
like a couple hundred people
That's
in the upstairs space.
That space is wild. Yeah.
and then they have their guard tower.
And then they have the tower, like the cabin up on the hill.
Yeah.
Is excellent. If you want something like a little rustic, a little different, there's just 2 of you, and you're not like a dick and and hoity-toity.
Yeah.
That is so cool. The cabin, but because there's no space, like it's really small. Like you sleep in
Intimate.
you sleep in a loft that's like big enough for the bed, and that's it. And it's like a galley. It's really really cool. Though.
Sounds sexy as hell.
If you haven't farted in
I'm,
front of your girlfriend yet, don't take her up to that one.
Definitely a second or third date kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It is romantic.
It's gonna echo. I'm just gonna tell you right now.
It was
It's real quiet
yeah.
up there at night.
All right. So and then Durant at Red Ridge Farm.
Yeah.
So pretty.
Yeah.
One of my favorite places in the valley. Period. Just because their gardens are so pretty, the area where the place you stay in is it's like a little botanical garden space. The property, they have a really pretty little gift shop.
You're looking at an olive grove.
Olive Grove, yeah, amazing flowers. All these little succulents and pretty little plants, and then the view from the winery space, which is just a short walk over, is unreal. It's one of the best views in the
Yeah.
valley.
It's a cool place, just period. Yeah, you can stroll through the gardens and the
Yeah,
and it's like you can buy stuff out of the
they have a little gift shop there.
greenhouses and
Yeah.
the gift shop. Yeah, it's cool.
Pretty good food program.
Taste
too.
olive oil that they make there themselves.
And it's
grow
not
there
just
themselves.
wine. There's so much going on there. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Salts,
It's
honeys,
a win.
oils.
It's a win for people who kind of want a little break from wine, like who like to do a little shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
if you want some
maybe
souvenirs,
one in your party isn't
Yeah.
like super into wine tasting. Give
Yeah.
them do a little stop at Durant. and
Well, it
Red
also
Ridge.
shows off more of Oregon than just
Yeah.
the vines.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Willamette Valley Vineyards down by Turner. Apparently, they have. I think Jim called them executive suites that are there on property and have a
I'm
little
sure they're very nice.
patio. I would imagine so. Everything
Jim does
they
things
do is
well.
nice because
Yeah.
it's Willamette Valley Vineyards. What else? Oh, DuPont. Now,
Mm.
I know that DuPont has a space,
I
and
can't speak on DuPont's place because I don't know
I
about
feel like somebody told me at one point that it was like haunted or something. That it was.
it. Makes it way more fun to stay at.
I
Yeah.
feel like we should do a hospitality episode in like the top 5 most haunted places
yeah.
in the
That
valley.
house right by the Allison.
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about?
The old schoolhouse
No. The house that's right off
up above.
Zimri.
The
It's
White
on the other
House?
side of Zimri. That was for sale forever with like the girl in the journal, and it was like, yeah.
Was that
it's-
really haunted?
Yeah, straight up.
Did
I
that
don't-
make
really?
it more expensive or less? Because I would pay more.
I don't know. I'll talk to the old owner and see. But they
I mean, I know the old owners, so we can.
Tana.
Yeah,
And-
we can.
yeah. Anyway, yeah, a haunted house tour of.
I'd
Now,
be
maybe for
down.
next Halloween.
That'd be great.
DuPont.
down.
Oh, Chehalem. Chehalem has a little house over by the winery.
Yeah.
I forgot about completely until Daniel told me. Have you been there? Did you remember when we drove those sommeliers from like the East Coast or something?
Oh, yep.
Yeah, that
Yep.
was the Chehalem
Yep.
one, and they gave us all that wine afterwards.
I was very
That was a
happy
good
about
day.
that.
That's good. Yeah.
We drank. The
It was like
shit out of
anytime Robert Parker would come to the Allison, and they would wheel in pallets to his room, and then he would drink 3 or 4 ounces of each bottle, and then there would be pallets of open cases that we'd get to take home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
I think
Those are
the
good
first
days.
time I brought
Thanks,
home
Robert.
42 bottles, spread out on my bar, and had all my friends come
I didn't
over.
know what I had back then. Man.
Like,
A lot
oh,
of
this
people.
is a Shay from 07? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
Or
that-
just Sonny
that's
walks
good.
over with world class food and is like, "You want to taste this?" And I have no idea. I'm just so hungry because all I've eaten is like a McDonald's egg McMuffin
Yeah.
and a coffee.
I showed up at 6:40 to run and grab people's cars for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. here's
I rode my
Duck
bike
Breast.
because I can't afford a car.
Yeah, those are the
Anyway.
days. Oh, let's see. Oh, DeLancelotti.
It's a killer house.
Cool house. Yeah.
And a great property. That
They brought
property's
us in-
just magical.
Yeah, they brought us in when they first opened it as a rental.
Yeah.
And we got to sit inside, eat some food.
Yeah.
Cool place.
It is. Yeah, kind of rustic. I would say it's cool. Compared to some of these, like the houses are really simple. You
Yeah.
know? That one's cool.
You're-
They
and
did
you're-
a nice job.
And it's a quiet little place. Like whenever I'm at Paul's, there's always like red-tailed hawks flying around or like turkey vultures. It's just you're kind of just off the map a little
the house
bit.
is
It's nice.
Chickens
literally
running
like
around, pooping.
15, 20 yards from the vineyard. So
Yeah.
you're
It's
right
right there.
in the vineyard.
That's cool. And of course, you guys have your bungalows.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we've got 2 not executive suites. When they come up with a different word for that.
Servants' quarters more?
Maybe not that one. But, yeah.
Stefan underselling that.
Yeah.
The barracks. No.
Yeah, no.
How many does it sleep?
2 small non-executive suites and 1 bedroom, but I think they sleep 4. And really beautiful view out to the north and the vineyard. And we have a lot of folks, just couples a lot of times coming in, staying here, tasting wine, seeing the vineyard. We had somebody stay for like 6 weeks to write a book. It was kind of fun.
That's cool.
Dang, I'll take that
cool.
check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's always fun to see, because I live and work here in Oregon, and so it's like it's fun to see people like on vacation, and it's like, oh, I planned this vacation for a long time to come to Oregon wine country, and isn't this beautiful? And it's like, it is, yeah,
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Yeah. When you're looking up at the Chehalem Mountains, like the view behind us, if it was daylight, is really pretty
Wonderful.
special.
Yeah, especially this time of year.
Yeah.
So, great
Also,
place to stay.
If you're hearing all that noise in the background, it just started dumping outside of
Yeah.
us.
It's lovely.
Get some good
It's
Oregon
raining.
rain here, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Raindrops keep falling.
November in Oregon.
Finally, yeah.
We can go
That
from
could hold November rain.
we go from 60 and sunny 3 days ago to
It's
this.
the most bipolar state in the world. Just changes so fast.
I'm gonna cut into November rain, Guns N' Roses.
Now y'all
so
have
you know.
chickens too. Do you have any other livestock on the property?
No, because I'm
right
able
now.
to put the brakes on that. But
for it.
if
Okay.
Kim was in charge of the livestocks, it would be a lot. She was
Yeah.
pre-vet for a while, and it's like, she's like, yeah, okay, well, the chickens, they'd be more defended if there was like a goat, and then the goat wouldn't get eaten by coyotes if there was like a llama.
Right.
And then you'd want like 1 horse to ride, right? And so it was like, let's start with chickens and see how that goes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
If you give a pig a pancake,
Yeah.
he's gonna want a horse.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's literally how farms work. And it's just
Got
like,
it.
oh my gosh, how did I end up with a
Yeah.
emu? Yeah.
All of a sudden, you have
Llamas.
a vineyard, a cider press, and all the apples, and then you've got horses.
You're gonna have to
cows,
start
pigs.
charging
Yeah.
admission.
We did.
Let alone
It's gonna be a
Yeah.
petting zoo.
Yeah, 25 cents to pet it. Yeah.
While we're talking about staying places, I do have a story.
Oh boy. We'll do a little story time right now.
I think it's time.
Let's
because
go.
It's just.
It's been a while.
So
This feels all right.
I went to Haiti right when I graduated college. I went with Tim Cornell, who is friends with I think everybody here but Evan, which
I'm sure he's nice.
you know,
Yeah.
he's not. Yeah,
I was
no,
trying
he's
to sell
great
you a
guy. He's great guy.
BMW if you ever
Yeah,
get it.
no, he's an awesome guy.
He's a whack job.
So Tim, we had gone there for a project that he was working on, but the first night the people were hosting us made this massive meal for us. If you know anything about Haiti, they don't have a ton of extra cash to like put together Thanksgiving dinners for people to just come in on planes. So I could tell that they put a lot of resources into the meal they made us. I also have an extremely weak stomach and
God.
I'm not good eating.
Even more so then.
I'm much
You have
different. But when
matured.
I was younger, I would not eat something that had onions in it or mayonnaise.
And when you were in the travel brochure, you're like, France or Haiti.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I was the cuisine. I'm sure would have
Yeah.
been perfect. I thought. Okay, I swear to God, every single dish that this family prepared had onions, and it seemed like a creamy mayonnaise-y substance. Or I was just in my own head, but it didn't matter at that
Yeah.
point. So we get there. I am starving. And we start eating. Tim's like, just take a little bit of everything. Don't fucking turn down food, dude. You know what I mean? You're a man.
Don't be
you
an
can do
American
this.
bitch.
So I start eating, and I'm plugging my nose, trying to eat this shit. And I'm trying to act like I'm enjoying myself, of course. I'm telling the mom it's great, telling the dad it's great. So I'm eating this one dish that's very white and creamy and has tons of onions in it, and it's got a chicken meat. And so I'm eating it, and Tim will not stop fucking laughing at me. He is just cracking up, and I'm looking across the table what the fuck are you laughing at? So at some point, excuse me, he was right next to me. So at some point he leans over and he goes, "How's that chicken?" And I go, "It is so chewy. There's so much fat on it, And he goes, "That's not chicken." And he shows me a picture of a conch, which is the
yeah.
shell you listen to at the ocean.
Yeah.
Which is just a slug that lives inside a massive shell. That's what I was eating.
Oh.
And at that moment,
That sounds
my
great.
stomach was
Oh, no.
done.
Oh.
So
I thought it was going to be way worse than
so
that.
I
love
am
conch.
mid
Soylent Green
I
is
am
conch.
mid
Yeah.
puke. And I look up to like the mother and I say, "Excuse me, where's your restroom?" And she just turns and points, and I swear to God, it's like where that wall is. And this is a concrete house.
Oh, no.
And a gap beneath the door was like this wide.
Oh,
and if you're just
no.
listening, I mean like 3 or 4 inches wide or tall. So they were going to hear everything. And I go in this bathroom and I puke my guts out. And the whole family is sitting there listening to me. And I have to go back into the room and sit back down and ask her, or at some point tell her, thank you very much for cooking for me. It was so embarrassing. And Tim could not have enjoyed himself
Conk?
more. Conk.
It's probably a delicacy. It's probably really good.
I assume
No.
it's like abalone or something.
It tastes like if you
clam,
took
like-
the edge of a piece of steak and just ate that. The
the
gristle, that's what conch tastes like. It's not good. It's
Okay.
cheap and easy to catch. That's
All
what
right.
it is.
Easy to catch.
The moral of the story is,
The
yeah.
conch
Away from me
hunter.
like at that rate.
Very
Conch
fast.
hunter.
Yeah.
That's if you're
The
really
moral of the
bad
story
hunter.
is if you're eating something unusual or foreign, just eat
Wait,
it.
how did we
Don't
get
think
to that
about what you're
story?
eating.
It had nothing to do with any of
Because I was staying at a place and I was being hosted.
okay.
It sparked the story in my
no.
brain.
No,
and
it's
I hadn't
good.
had one for a few
Yeah, you
episodes.
mentioned giant slugs
Felt
were
like-
eating. Yeah.
Felt like I needed
Yeah,
that came up.
exactly. All right. Hey, it works for me.
You're welcome.
As long as everybody's happy.
You're welcome for sharing
The
my
things we do.
personal
Conk.
experiences.
Now I'm curious. Okay. All right. Well, we'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Hospitality. Now is the time where we discuss what's been beautiful and what's been brutal. Yeah. I'll start because I want to. And
Let's go.
with something brutal. We had a tasting that we went to, a industry tasting. You, your wife,
Yeah.
myself, Mark, and
Ian?
went to a tasting to a local winery with a reservation, and I told them, they knew who I was or whatever, and I said, we want to check out this aspect of your winery, and
This newer portion of your tasting experience.
well, yeah, okay.
Is
And
one of you
so-
blinking out the name in
Yeah.
Morse code? Yeah.
I need a beeper.
We all know who it is,
Anyway,
but we're
so
trying to be
we
respectful.
go and get seated or whatever. We have a tasting. They pour it all out ahead of time,
Right.
which is like, okay, whatever. Order
With COVID, I get that.
some food, and which is why we were there, and whatever tasting, you can go into that. But we get, and I buy a couple bottles of wine,
Yeah.
and they charge us 4 tastings. They comp one of the 5 tastings, and like, okay, I don't know. It rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. I wasn't crazy salty about it, but I was kind of like, okay.
Again, tour companies are your best free marketing.
Absolutely.
If you fuck over a tour company, you're bad, buddy.
It's their choice. Their choice.
I will only say this. I think you have to be really careful about industry people. We as industry people, I think, go in and we expect to treat the place we're at with the utmost respect. We expect, as people who have gone through the worst experiences, that it's like, okay, we're coming in here. We're not going to snap our fingers at these people. We're going to try and be the best guests they've had today. So in turn, we expect some freaking decency, and also we are trying to look out for you. We're not trying to, we're here for you, and we're going to promote you after this.
If we have
Yeah.
a great experience, we're going to promote you to
Right.
everyone
Yeah,
that
that's
we
the thing.
host.
But
I took a bunch of
unfortunately, that's not the case
pictures.
with most people. So,
No.
so what happens is you get the boy who cried wolf, so to speak, in the sense that you have so many industry people, and it's like, what are you, a photographer? I'm in the industry, right?
You're an Instagram
I'm
influencer.
a member of this
Yep.
vineyard, and they gave me a card. Like that happens. So, I think what happens is the industry people, for the wrong reasons, get burnt out on industry people, and then
Yes.
you don't know who is the person you really should look out for in the valley. And but I guess what I'm saying is, in general, you should just take care of industry people, despite the fact that they are annoying and they're going to be the people that send the
They
most
can
people
be.
to you.
Well, and
can't
if
be
they're
like-
They can't be,
shitty,
who
call
cares?
them out.
Who
Like,
cares?
it doesn't, no love lost. If you have an industry group that's a poor industry group,
We've talked about this in this podcast.
Yeah.
burn them
Totally.
publicly.
That's fine.
Put it on your social media. I don't care what you have to do. Like, as industry, we have a responsibility to be kind, compassionate guests when we're
Oh my gosh,
trying to
yes.
see another experience.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's like these unspoken rules of tastings and tipping and all these other things. Sometimes it's nice to speak them just so it's like, oh, yeah, not comping that. It's kind of weird because we talked about how we're all in the industry, right? Yeah.
Well, and like,
Right.
not to toot our horn, but like we tipped on the card and cash.
Yep.
There's no like, we didn't
Bought
cheapskate
wine.
the winery.
Yeah.
Spend a bunch of money on the food.
Well, and the other
With-
thing I wanted
this
to
is
address
expensive,
with
yeah.
this, that the experience was subpar.
Yeah.
The food was decent for the price point. I'm okay with it.
It was
I don't,
expensive.
I don't have any like hard feelings. If we're out in
No.
the valley and you're gonna
It's true.
eat at a
If you're
winery,
gonna eat at a
like,
winery, it's gonna be
You
expensive.
expect to pay a lot.
Whatever.
Yeah.
but it was clear that our host, not for their lack of wanting to, but the training program within the winery itself didn't afford this host the knowledge base they needed to be a exceptional host. And again, like nothing about them. Like this isn't their problem as a
Yeah.
host.
No, absolutely.
But when they come to the table and they put down 5 wines and they briefly introduce each one and go away, you know that they don't have either the confidence based on training or the training protocol to be able to intelligently talk you through each of the wines in front of you. And
Has that changed since COVID? Because I've done only a few tastings in COVID, and
I think there's some of that.
And some people, it seems like it's like, here's the wines, and they go away, and it's like, and it's just not what I was expecting.
Sure.
You know? Yep.
Sure, and I think
Yeah,
that's
benefit
a
of the
very
doubt,
that's a
you're right.
super fair statement,
Yeah.
and I'm willing to take that. But I mean, as someone who is hosting tables during COVID, I can stand 6 feet away from a table with your wines pre-poured, talk to you about the wines, see if you have any questions, see what you're interested in,
Yeah.
and then base my hosting experience off of what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, and from that, I can give you recommendations for other wineries to visit. I can inform you on, hey, do you have dinner reservations for tonight? If not, here are some of my favorites. Also, I would love to call ahead and see if we can get you a reservation. So there's
Yeah,
levels to
yeah.
hospitality.
And as an industry person, honestly, I don't mind paying for tastings if it's like super exclusive.
Sure.
You know, you have limited availability and stuff. Like I think Soder, they have a discounted tasting for
Sure.
for hospitality or something. It's like, okay, I get that. You guys only have so many spots dedicated, and you're gonna get a great experience.
Right.
This was not that kind of tasting
No,
experience.
I've had
so-
a better experience going to the Tillamook Cheese Factory and getting a grilled cheese sandwich than I did at this experience.
It was subpar. Yeah.
Not
just
not
Oregon's
the
just
grilled
different.
cheese. Yeah.
Oregon's
no,
just different.
I'm sure.
I think there's a lot of people moving here, working in tasting rooms, working in these areas who didn't grow up in Oregon. They didn't grow up in this community, and they think of industry as scamming. They think of industry as you're just coming in here to get a free tasting. When
No, but that's a management that's a management problem.
It
That
is,
has
yes.
nothing to do with
No,
the
it
host.
is.
The
That's
host
why
isn't
they
the
need
one
I'm
to-
not
that,
blaming
like,
the host. I'm saying it's just a matter of fact that this valley's not. You know, we go back to the gym podcast with Oregon Solidarity,
Project.
but
Yep.
Oregon's different, or the community of Oregon is different. So generally, and I'm just speaking in general to the people in the valley, but don't assume malevolence of the people that come in from the industry. They're there to send people to you. They're going to be your best marketing tool
You're gonna get some stinkers,
and
but
kill it.
Yeah.
Give them the best experience they possibly can have, because then they're going to be like, oh my God, you're done tasting here. You have
Right.
to go taste this place. They're going to brag about you. They love
Yeah.
talking about themselves and where they went.
yep.
That's what you're doing when you
Right.
when you kill it with industry people, and you should every time.
We were there. I was taking pictures of everything. I was ready to do Instagram, Facebook,
Yes.
all these posts,
Yeah.
pumping this up. Like, oh, you got to check this out. And
I was
I left there, and I was like,
hoping that it was going to be exceptional.
Yeah.
Because I have guests that want that kind of supposed experience, and they shit the fucking bed.
yeah, it was unfortunate, and
was-
and they knew we were industry. There were people there that knew us.
They
Now that's the flip side. I'm not going to go too far into that, but maybe there's a axe to grind. They don't like. Maybe they don't like the
They don't like the way
podcast.
we talk about things so black and white.
Just saying.
maybe,
Maybe.
but at the same
we
time,
don't really
like
give a shit.
if nothing else,
Okay.
like invest in your staff.
Yeah.
Like I hate
Or-
nothing more than watching someone who's pious that greets you at the door and walks you to your table, and then you see a staff member that clearly hasn't been invested in. Like,
Yeah, do right by them.
do right by your folks. They're there for an education. They're there because they want to be part of the industry. They want to grow their personal net worth in the valley. And if they're not going to stay with you long term, they want to be able to move on to something else.
Yeah.
And if you don't take care of your people, oh, it feels like another fuck you coming out of West. I won't do it.
No, that was a fuck
Don't
off.
just take care of your people. Give them the
Yeah.
opportunity to be able to host a
Amen.
table well.
Yeah.
So when will you guys go back to give them another shot? And never's an okay answer.
I honestly, it's going to be 18 months. I have more places that have food programs
Evan, this
and
all
places in the area. Like
Yeah,
that was it. I know.
honestly, up until this point, over the last few months, I had been working them more into my rotation of tours.
Yeah.
And they're out
Yeah.
unless I have to take people there right now. That's the truth.
But these guys,
Like, I'm done.
These
Like,
guys are both married. So
can-
me, and I'm not going to name this place, but this is a particular place that I like to take girls on dates. I'm going to still take girls back there probably in the next couple weeks. So they didn't ruin it that bad for me.
But like honestly, are
for
the
these
gimmicks?
Because the kind of
are-
brainless broads that you date, you know.
I'm not trying to make her
Oh, I don't
think
want to
about
be
the wine.
part of that at all.
In fairness, I haven't met any of Cole's dates in like
Stefan.
I just
4
don't
years.
like
so
you
whatever.
can't
Exactly.
replace exceptional quality with gimmicks. Like gimmicks don't pull when you have so many options.
Yeah.
Like
Unless you're a
I don't
basic bitch.
so,
And you've got your knee high camel boots and your hat. And
I'm staying out of this
Cardigan.
entirely.
let's move on to something beautiful. Wesley.
No matter who you voted for,
Yes.
whether you were right or wrong, wine is still really tasty.
Amen.
And,
Let's cheers to that.
I'll drink to that.
In the next couple of months, we're gonna need a lot more wine. So
Yeah.
Maybe so.
find an Oregon producer you love. Bellingar would be one of my suggestions.
There's only about
Yeah, for the record,
20 cases left. So.
for the record, it's 8:04 on November 5th. We still don't know who the president's going to be.
Not
Right.
yet.
But by golly, there will be wine.
There will be wine.
There
It's
will
going to
be
be good.
wine. There will be whiskey. I've been drinking every
I've been
day,
drinking whiskey.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a fair share, but whiskey.
And on the beautiful note, I also want to mention that I think all of us were sort of bracing for like the worst sort of outcome as far as people behaving towards each other, the potential of that happening. And there was no like major shootings or bombings or anything that happened on election day that
Election Day 3, we're still
not to, you know,
Yeah.
jinx
Jinx it.
anything, but I'm just glad that people are just being mature and just saying it's a democracy and this is going to play out.
Well, and here's-
mostly other than
Most except for the president himself. But we don't have to get into that.
But here's the
No
deal
one's been
too.
shot.
Like,
Mature
yeah.
bitch.
it doesn't matter who gets elected. We still have to do work in our own communities.
Yep.
We still have to show up
You're
for
right.
each
number
other.
one place.
We still have to make our voice heard. You
Yeah.
still need to make sure that your local politicians are held to the accountable level that you voted them in for.
And as good as it feels to spit the same fire that was spit at you at some point, maybe years ago, do not fucking do that. Don't go out and be the Biden-Harris hat-wearing person that is just literally the reflection of the MAGA hat-wearing person just because that's been going on.
They wouldn't wear. What would they? It would be like a beret or something.
It doesn't matter. It's
wouldn't
the
be- I don't think a trucker
bend the
hat or
knee philosophy that just is not going to work anymore. We are now to healing point in our
Yeah.
country. We don't need people to spit in each other's
Agreed.
faces because their guy won.
Does it looks
This
like
is-
Biden's going to win? so-
States are all in the United States. You know what I mean? Red and blue states the same.
Amen.
So
Yeah.
that's
Amen.
my
Well said.
I
that's
saw
my
a
feeling.
great sign, and it was "We are not enemies, but we're friends" from Abraham Lincoln, put out this year. And it's like Abraham Lincoln was dealing with the Civil War in these very troubling times, and it's like that's exactly right. Even in the worst times, the darkest hour, we are all one country together. Like how do we remember that?
Yeah.
Yep. Show up locally for the people that historically haven't had voices. Be the person that you need to be to make your community better. And when there is things you disagree with, show up. Be a voice. Be part of your town halls. Be part of your city council. Like, granted, national elections happen. They come and they go. But we're all responsible for our individual communities. So show
Absolutely.
up. Care about people in however
Keep
you
talking.
see fit. But
Yeah.
show up. Just because your team wins or your team loses. continue to
And
show
that's
up.
the last thing we'll ever say about politics in this fucking podcast ever again.
Cheers.
Joe, I'll drink to that. And I'm recording that and posting it, so that just that little clip, just so you know. I love you, Cole,
Love you too.
Wesley, and Brutal. One more Brutal.
What was my? Oh,
Yeah.
it started raining, as you can hear behind us,
Literally right now.
and
It's been fargin' cold
it's
a couple
been
days too.
but it's been gorgeous until about I don't know 72 hours ago.
Yeah.
I think winter has hit. We are now in the place as a wine community and hosting spaces where we can't do outdoor seated tastings anymore. We might get a few
you have a
one-off
tent.
weekends. But
You can't count on it though. You can't
when it
schedule
comes
that.
to like buying wine, drinking wine, still support, still show up. It's really hard for us. I'm still just a lowly host in a tasting room, and so much of my paycheck has been gratuity and commission off selling wine, and a lot of us are really, really concerned because what we've experienced over the summer, being able to host 3 times as many folks as we can with our indoor space, just isn't an option anymore.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways you can get involved. You can call ahead, order wine, pick it up. You can schedule your tastings well in advance. The normal, like, just drive up, go to your favorite winery, walk in, and get a tasting probably isn't going to
Maybe Tuesday, Wednesday,
happen
Thursday.
as much, right?
Weekend's
But
not
on
gonna
weekends,
work.
like, so
Three-
there's
2-3
this
weeks
there's
out
this
for most
combination of
places.
like forethought and also preparation, and
Absolutely.
you can do cool things, especially with the holidays coming up. Buy wine, buy restaurant gift certificates, find ways to keep our local businesses alive.
Amen.
This is gonna suck.
100%.
Us as the industry,
Yeah.
tasting folks are gonna take it on the chin. Restaurants are gonna take it on the chin. We're, as much as you're irritated about lack of seating, we're scared about lack of resources. So
Cut
be
that.
creative.
I mean, some wineries are just not gonna be able to keep the amount of staff
Right.
that they normally would
Wineries, restaurants,
through
like
winter.
But go to, what a cozy thing to do on a rainy day. Go drink wine in front of a fire at Domaine Roy.
you
or
bring it. I mean, and there are some wineries that have expanded their tasting to outside with like tents
Tents,
and stuff. So bring a coat.
yeah.
right,
Bring
roll with
a
the
hat,
punches.
like
Find a
because
way to be
it might be
creative.
cold.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they're gonna tell you if you're gonna be outside, like with
Right.
a tent and it's breezy and everything. It'll be safe. It'll be nice. You might
This
have
is
a
our
breeze,
expertise in
but
Oregon.
Bring
We
bundle
are
up.
used to rain, and all these wineries are used to pleasing people when it's raining outside,
Right.
whether it's an outside tent, whether you have a heat lamp and a little, awning, whatever. It's going to be awesome.
Just
like,
bundle up.
I
Be
honestly,
patient.
I love the rain, and when you're in the middle of this beautiful site in a storm, there's something really magical about that too. Honestly, like
true. Totally agree.
weather
Well,
is beautiful.
We'll follow up on this too. I don't know if y'all saw the Instagram messages I was having with Ann at the Atticus, but the McMinnville Downtown Association is moving forward and trying to create ways to keep all these businesses going. So
Okay.
we'll follow up with you guys. We'll partner with them at some point.
Sure.
But do your part. If you have expendable income, if these are the kinds of things you love and enjoy, support them now. Because if you don't support them now, they won't be here next summer.
They're leaving.
Yeah.
When,
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
the weather
business.
gets nice and you suddenly want to be sitting outside with your friends.
Yeah.
So
And support Bellingar Estate.
Yeah, Bellingar
Yeah.
Estates.
You guys are going to stay open.
We're staying,
Okay.
opening this new tasting room and
Yeah.
welcoming folks. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can go to the website to book probably by email and whatever, right?
Yeah, if I was really smart, I would know that. But yeah, BellingarStates.com.
We'll put the links in below the
Down
video
below.
for you
Yeah.
to get a hold of
The show
Bellinger
notes.
and be able to book
Yeah.
an appointment.
Yeah, and best place to keep track of us is at Bellingar Estates at Instagram. So
They do post on Instagram, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yep. And again, like you'll be able to see the space is wonderful. I'd say it's pretty COVID friendly.
Yeah.
In that, like, I mean, it's cold. I mean, it's 48 degrees
and
but
raining.
You've got the heater kind of going. I'm in a sweater and I'm pretty comfortable. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm really not
Yeah.
that cold.
Yeah.
Cole's a little bitch, and he had to put on a coat, but you know,
I have really low body fat, so it's
kind of hard. I do not.
it's weird.
Touche.
Work out a lot, guys.
Touche. So anyway, come out and visit Bellingar Estates. Estates, not estate.
we're gonna get the second estate, and that'll make sense. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Planning
Well,
ahead.
next time you come on, we'll discuss that. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. If you enjoyed the episode, please like,
Smash
follow,
that fucking button.
share, and all of that
Check
business.
out their Instagram.
Check out Bellingar Estate
Check
Instagram.
out our Instagram.
And our Instagram. Cole does a great job, and Wesley, I think.
It's just a shameless plug.
Who does? I don't know. I think it's pretty good. All right. We will see you next week.
Love you guys.